The Yankees are back on top. World champions for the 27th time. The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers. Back to throw Montana. Steps up, throws. This fight is over. Floyd Mayweather has a knockout victory over Ricky Hatton.
Relax and smiling. Oh!
All right, welcome back to Championship Rounds. As promised, I'm back for the absolutely stacked UFC Fight Night, Volkov versus Rozenstruik. This is the most stacked card of the freaking year. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, the whole nine really helps out the channel, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And shout out to the P1s, as well as all the new subscribers that are in the fold as I look to have more. We're pushing on to many thresholds. We hit the 50, we hit the 100. Before I even said anything, we're almost halfway to 150 from there. Let's go. But anyways, like I said, Championship Rounds is back. It's the kid, Marcel Pierre, per normal. And I got one of the homies, you know what I mean? One of the day ones in here with me. And he's here via phone to cover Volkov versus Rozenstruik, of course. And that's the one and only Originale. Say what's up to the channel, bro.
What's up, guys? And you said stack card. Did you mean stack shit? Full of shit.
You know, it's funny you say that. Dave Chappelle once did a show in San Francisco, California, and everybody, no disrespect, was telling him, oh, it's so gay there, it's so gay. And then he got there and said, you know what I mean, this place isn't really all that gay. Then he said he wandered into that Tenderloin. He said that shit was rough, the opposite of Tinder. So when I say this card is stacked, what I really mean is it's the opposite of stacked. That was sarcasm that I was laying on by the truckload. And I know you can't see me right now, Brandon, but I actually have a chart right next to me that addresses the level of fights on this card. At the bottom of the graph, it says Dada fights, and not surprisingly, above that are bum fights. And then you go to the LFA level, Bellator level, UFC level, and then Conor versus Nate level. Okay, and the graph has the early prelims, the prelims, and the main card slightly above bum fights. The co-main event is LFA level going into the Bellator level, and the main event plateaus out at just UFC level. So yes, I was laying the sarcasm on pretty thick. But Brandon, you want to go ahead and jump into this and tackle this and get the hell on out of here?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do just that. Again, Volkov versus Rozenstruik happening at the UFC Apex. Yeah, the small cage. We'll get into that a little bit later. Let me get this down here. Everybody knows. All right, the first fight that I'm covering on the card is going to be a women's MMA fight. Brandon, I know you really like the women's MMA fights. They're uber competitive. And you got JJ Aldridge versus Aaron Blanchfield. Now, Aaron's 23, 8-1, 2-0 in the UFC. Aldridge is 29, 11-4, 7-3 in the UFC. And she is on a 3-fight losing streak. Blanchfield is a wrestler. She wants to get the fight to the ground, while Aldridge is one-dimensional and she is a striker. She's a boxer. She's not going to be throwing a lot of kicks. She's not going to be throwing a lot of elbows or knees. She's just going to be boxing you. And she's no nonsense. You know, she's not going to touch your glove at the beginning of the fight. But who you got winning this, Brandon?
You know, when you set it up like that, I think I'm going to have to go with Blanchfield, just because when you have a traditional wrestler versus a striker, typically the wrestler controls the fight, unless the striker is a good striker, a la Conor McGregor. JJ Aldridge is none of that. She's on a 3-fight losing streak. Therefore, I say Aaron Blanchfield by a boring-ass opener.
Well, I did misread that. JJ is on a 3-fight winning streak. But
Well, flip what I said, and we're going to go with JJ. Because when you're on a 3-fight winning streak, that means you're going to keep that momentum going, right?
Ideally. Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I think you were spot on with your first analogy. I mean, the wrestling is going to control where the fight takes place. JJ might be on a 3-fight winning streak, but you know, Blanchfield is undefeated in the promotion. She's looking hot. She's looking like an up and comer, and I don't think JJ's takedown defense is going to be up to snuff. Vegas has Blanchfield the minus 550 favorite, and I concur. So we're gonna move on from this fight, because obviously this isn't a high stakes fight. You know, hardly any of these fights are, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. What do you say?
I mean, I'm 100% behind that.
I concur, sir. All right, so taking Blanchfield in the first fight, we move on to the next fight. And the next fight deals with a Hinat Fakhretdinov versus Andres Michailidis, a middleweight fight. Fakhretdinov's 30. He's 18-1, making his UFC debut, hot on a 17-fight win streak, while Michailidis is 33, 13-5, 1-2 in the promotion. How you see this one going, B?
Is this the guy that they're saying is the Russian Conor McGregor?
I think he claims to be the Russian Conor McGregor.
Says he doesn't have the same tattoos, even though they're very similar.
Okay, no. We're gonna get to that. That's another guy. I know who you're talking about now. But no,
Okay.
this guy is hot on a win streak though, and making his debut against a guy, a 3-fight UFC veteran, is 1-2 in the promotion.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to go with Ranil. Is that how you say his name? That's Ranil.
Close enough. You know, who am I to judge?
Yeah, fucking off. I think we're going to go with him because obviously he's going to be in control of the fight, man. We already know what's going to happen. He's going to fucking dominate this guy and move on.
Yeah, you know, they say some people stumble in their UFC debuts. I don't think it's going to be the case. Look, Renat's nickname is the Gladiator, and Michailidis' nickname is the Spartan. This is what my notes say. I said this isn't going to be the dream matchup between Leonidas and the Spaniard. On one side, Fakhretdinov is making his well-deserved debut on a massive winning streak, while Michailidis is fighting for his damn job. They say don't do MMA math, but Fakhretdinov has racked up 11 KOs in 19 fights, while all of Michailidis' losses have been via KO, 2 of his last 3 fights, but for that matter. So yeah, I'm definitely going with Fakhretdinov as like you. I'm on the same boat there, the favorite. Moving on, you good with that?
Yep, let's go.
Let's get her going then. All right, the next fight we have here. Looks like you got Zhalgis Zako Zumagulov versus Jeff Molina. El Jefe Molina goes by. He's 24 years of age, 10-2, 2-0 in the UFC, hot on a 9-fight win streak. Some of the pros, he's a dynamic striker, heavy hands, accurate with his boxing, great jab. He doesn't, accept the bottom position. His cons are his takedown defense is shaky, and he backs straight up when he's getting pressured. Zumagulov, on the other hand, Zako is 33, 14-6, 1-3 in the promotion. His pros are he's willing to exchange on the feet with good boxing and leg kicks, and he's good with takedowns and grappling when he actually uses them. doesn't actually always use them. Cons, he's very short with short arms, difficult to close distance. His chin is a liability. He got knocked out with a flying knee in his last fight, and he gets hit a lot. What you got in this one?
I mean, you pretty much said what needs to be said on this one. I mean, if we're going with the guy that you said he's on a 9-fight win streak, 9-fight win streak, and he's got a lot of them in KOs, right?
Absolutely.
And you got a guy that's lost most of his fights in KOs. What do you think's going to happen in this fight? The guy's going to get knocked out, man.
Well, I concur. I mean, I was big on Zimagulov when he made his promotional debut, but he's definitely fallen grossly short of that mark. However, if he does get Molina down, I mean, he could possibly control him there, but we'll see if he actually uses that, because sometimes he just falls in love with just standing in front of people and striking. But I do concur with your pick. I'm also going with Jeff Molina, and the likely fight ending is decision or TKO, in my humble opinion. Brandon, we're moving the hell on. You good?
Yeah, let's keep going as fast as we can.
Yeah, because this card is shit. I completely concur on that. All right, let's see here. Next fight, we got Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Tony Gravley, and this is a bantamweight bout, 135 pounds. Munoz is 29, 11-1, 1-1 in the UFC. Gravley's 30, 22-7, and he's 3-2 in the UFC. Munoz, decent grappling and takedowns. He maintains good range on the feet, decent jab, good submissions. Cons, he's not physically strong. He relies on getting the fight to the ground sometimes when he's getting outmatched on the feet. And when he can't get a takedown, he will spam takedowns, even if they're unsuccessful after unsuccessful. On the other hand, Gravley, he's got good kicks, heavy hands, strong grappling, very strong grappling. He's got poor head movement, doesn't set his shots up well, and he's been subbed and KO'd inside of the UFC. His cardio could become a liability in the later rounds. How do you got this one going, B?
You know, I think it is going to be one of those fights that does go in the later rounds, which will benefit Johnny Munoz on that one. I mean, clearly, Tony, it's not looking good for him. I mean, you know, he's had a lot of fights in there. You know, he's 11-1. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to go with him just based on, you know, I think he's got more pros in the way he can handle the fight if he keeps that range. And as you said, Tony has the gas tank that issue. And we know that, you know, when you gas in the octagon, you lose all ability to win the fight.
Absolutely. You said that's well put. And I promise we didn't collaborate before this and get our picks together, because I'm also picking the underdog in Johnny Munoz Jr. I watched a lot of his fights in the build-up to or in preparation for the show. And I actually think he's better everywhere, even though Gravley is touted with the wrestling. And this is what my notes say. Although Gravley has heavy hands and good wrestling, I feel like Munoz is better everywhere. Better takedown, submissions, cardio, and crisp movement on the feet. If Munoz can stay at range and fight on his terms, he cruises to a decision win. However, if Gravley connects clean, nighty fucking night. But I am going with Johnny Munoz, and I'm going with him by decision. We're going to move on, because we're buzzsawing right through this fight card that, you know, leaves a lot to fucking be desired, for lack of better terms. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Next fight here. Right. Let me see here. I think it's the Nicholas Stolze versus the Benoit Saint Denis. And let me get my notes here, because I don't.
Is it Benoit or Benoit?
You know, it's spelled exactly like Benoit. So if that's what you want to say, you know what I mean.
I think let's go with the cripple across face Benoit.
Let's go with the Benoit cripple across face. Then.
Let's do it.
All right. You know what I mean? Okay, so Nicholas Green Mask Stolze is 29, 12-5, 0-2 in the promotion, and the God of War, the crippler Chris Benoit Saint Denis, is 26, 8-1, and 0-1 in the promotion. So both of these guys looking to get a win inside of the UFC. Brandon, how you got this going?
Well, they're both looking for a win, so you know they might just leave it all in the octagon. You know, just leave it all in there. You know, and then leave Bibles. I can't. I'm not gonna go there.
Well, my notes say that both Nicholas and Benoit are fighting to prove they belong, with none of them having a victory thus far in the UFC. I believe Saint Denis had the stiffer opposition in his UFC debut, while Stolze has had 2 cracks and came up empty, one being on the wrong end of Jared Gordon's lone UFC win before the UFC cut him, and that was via KO. Saint Denis is a submission ace, while Stolze has never been submitted. Does that lean you either way?
Honestly, I just really have no. I mean, what can there be said? These guys are both like it's a loser leave town match because they're both on
Well put.
they're both on losses, and it's like if you're asking me who to pick, I mean I'm gonna go with Benoit Saint Denis.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I also have the -160 favorite Saint Denis checked off as well. Going with Saint Denis, likely fight in decision. That's what I'm going with.
That's a good. I'm gonna say submission.
Hey, it could happen. Like I said, Saint Denis is slick with a submission game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. The next fight here. This is the Jackson fight. Let me see here. Gotta make sure my notes are in order next time because this scrolling shit it isn't the best. Let's see here. Damon Jackson versus Dan Argueta. And Damon the Leech Jackson is 33 years of age, 20-4 in the promotion, 2-1 in the 20-4 in MMA, 2-1 in UFC, while Dan the Determined Argueta, 28, 8-0, making his UFC debut. And before you goo gaga over the undefeated record, let me paint a picture for you. Argueta is making his UFC debut just 28 days after a 5-round war to win the LFA championship title, a weight class below where he's making his debut Saturday night. He steps in on short notice against the dangerous Jackson, whom I personally feel is better everywhere and a bigger man. But don't let me tell you what to pick. Jackson is the biggest favorite on the card at -675 for what it's worth. What do you got?
Well, if you're a bet man, obviously take Damon. But if you're just, a roll the dice kind of guy like me, you're gonna take Mr. Dan here. Is it Argueta? You're gonna take him. He just won the bout, and he's gonna come out there, and he's gonna start this guy, and he's gonna hold up that belt, and then he's gonna call out probably somebody. That's my prediction. But you think Dana will let him walk to the ring with his belt?
I'm gonna go with 100% no. Definitely not. It's like LFA, you know what I mean? You might as well, went ahead and got, one of our replica belts from the fucking gift shop before you walk in here with that shit.
Should have just put an M after the F and just F LMSAO or whatever.
Exactly, whatever the hell. I'm also going with Damon Jackson, the huge favorite here. I think he's just going to be too much man for Argueta in his UFC debut on short notice, a weight class above where he normally competes. We're going to move on.
Mm-hmm. All right. Co-main event on the prelim card, lightweight Joe Solenke, Alex De Silva Correjo. And I butchered those names on purpose.
That is fine. I'll go ahead and paint the picture. Solenke's 28, 11-3. 3-1 in the UFC. Well, De Silva is 26 years of age, 21-3, and 1-2 in the promotion. How you got this play?
Well, this is a lightweight fight. We know the lightweight division is stacked with a lot of guys in there. These guys are definitely trying to get in there. They're trying to get ranked, and I think I'm gonna have to go with Joe Solecki here. Mm-hmm. I just think he's going to use his wrestling. I think he's going to get the guy Alex to the ground. I think he's going to control that. And I think he's going to get submission. 3rd round.
Well, I don't feel as strong about the finish as you, but I definitely can see a world where that happens 1,000,000%. But the rest of your analogy, I can get behind 100%. I mean, you damn near stole the words right out of my mouth. Like, I feel like Selecki is a guy that wins fights because of his well-roundedness. One being his groundwork and his control, and I feel like that's a liability for De Silva, who is a mostly striker. And we don't want to see what happens when a striker gets put on their back and doesn't know what to do. You know what I mean? We'll get to that later, but I'm also going to go with Joe Selecki, but I'm going to go by decision because I feel like this fight doesn't seem like it's too grand on paper, and I don't think it's going to show up in some tremendous fashion as far as palate-pleasing performances. But we're moving on. Joe Selecki.
Agreed.
All right. So now we have Felice Herrick versus Karolina Kovalkavitz. Let's see. Felice Herrick, 37, 14-9, 5-4 in the UFC. She's on a 3-fight losing streak and haven't fought in forever. While Kovalkavitz is 36, not far behind, 12-7, 5-7 in the UFC on a 5-fight losing streak. Brandon, both of these hoes are washed as fuck. What you got?
Well, Felice Herring has an OnlyFans that's only pictures of her weird-looking butthole. I hope I don't get canceled for that.
I thought it was her feet. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. Maybe it is her feet. Maybe it is her feet. It's one or the other. You know, they look a lot alike.
Wow.
Either way, you don't want to pay for it, okay? You're not going to like what he sees. And just like this fight, it's going to be
experience, or
it's going to be a boring fight. Felice Herring's going to control Carolina with the wrestling. Carolina's going to probably land a few shots, but I think Felice, once she gets hit a few times, will take it to the ground and control with the wrestling.
I'm sure that's what Vegas thinks too. They do have her at the favorite, minus 120 to Carolina's plus 100 at the time when I did my notes here. I'll say this. I mean, Carolina, you know, I remember when she was riding hot off of wins when she fought Joanna. It was Poland versus Poland for the belt. It's been wishy-washy since. And Felice's whole career has been wishy-washy. It's funny that Vegas has Felice as the favorite here, considering that Carolina won the first fight, but albeit by a split decision. This is a rematch, but when I went back and watched that fight, it didn't seem that damn close. My notes say both Herrick and Carolina are nearly 40 years of age and have seemed to be very washed as of late. If you look at their most recent performances, however, Carolina won their first fight and has been much more active than Felice. I'd stay away from this from a betting perspective, but championship rounds and Marcel Pierre is picking the underdog Carolina to get it done again because Felice sucks and Carolina has reached heights that Felice will never reach. And I just don't, I mean, I did pick this for some of my bets, but this is a slippery slope. This could fucking break the camel's back here. Both, you know, I don't know what I'm going to get here, man. You got anything else to add to this one?
Nope. There's nothing else to add. We've said pretty much all that needs to be said.
All right. Moving right along. Next fight. You want to announce that? This is your kind of guy.
Yeah, it's Askar Mashaharval. Like, why'd you let me say his name? You knew I was going to mess it up.
Because you do it way better than me.
Against Alonzo Menafield.
Uh-huh.
Menafield's 11-3. Askar is 19-12. Wow.
That's funny.
That's almost like
that. Let me take it from here. Menafield's 34 years of age. Yes, he's 11-3, like you said, 4-3 in the UFC. Askar is 27 years of age, making his UFC debut, and I have his record here, 21-12. Now, let me say, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. They had to adjust this guy's record several times because of fraudulent fights were turned in. Not to mention, this guy's last fight was a bare-knuckle boxing match. Not to mention, this guy quits in fights. He's like Bob Sapp. He's scared as hell in there, really. He looks the part, but he's scared fucking shitless. He will blitz you for 30 to 60 seconds, and if he cannot get you out of there in that period of time, he's going out of there. And that is already understood at the beginning of the fucking fight. On the other end, Alonzo Menafield is also a specimen. He's also been in the UFC for 7 fights. We see 4-3 record. Not great, but 4-3. The knock on him is he shows up in the cage with an empty tank. he leaves the gas in the car outside. You know what I mean? He doesn't gas up. He has maybe a round and a half worth of cardio. So the question is, who is going to last longer in this fight? But also, like, I'll let you take it. What before I complete my thoughts on this? Who you got here?
I'm just laughing because I mean, to me, you're hyping the fight up. Like, now I want to watch it. You know, before I'm like, I don't know. But now it's like you got this guy just like pops out, just going to go out there and just go for it for 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you got Alonzo on the other side. He's got a round and a half. So, I mean, if we're going off that, one round is 5 minutes. So,
Right.
If I'm doing math here, to me that means Alonzo is going to win because he's got a round and a half. So.
And that's exactly why I'm picking Alonzo by finish, because neither one of these guys have a tank to go a full fight. Really, I mean, Alonzo's proved that he can go a full fight, but that shit gets real dicey after a round and a half. Trust me, dicey as fuck. So yeah, but I'm picking him to take out an absolute fraud coming in here claiming to be the next Conor McGregor, or where the fuck he said he was.
Yeah, not even worth time even talking about it. So we'll move on to the next fight.
All right, go ahead, Brandon.
So we got Osborne versus Zechariah Adashive, and he's 4-3, Zechariah, and Ode is 10-4. One no contest. I want to speculate what the no contest was.
Also,
a nut shot.
Oh, who knows? Who knows in this day and age? Also, Odie, the Jamaican sensation, is 2-2 in the promotion, while the Lion Adashive is 1-2 in the promotion. 30-29, relatively close to age. Odie's obviously got more experience here. He's the longer fighter. Is he the better grappler? I mean, I don't know, because I know, like, I've seen Odie get taken down and he didn't look too great down there, off his back. So, but who knows? Who knows if the Lion can even get him there? What do you got in this one?
I'll be honest, I don't know a damn thing about either one of these fighters. If I'm going off record, I'm going to go to Osborne. One, because his last name's Osborne. I'm a big Ozzy Osborne fan. So, like, if I'm betting, that's like the clicker. That's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why you should pay attention to this guy.
I mean, that's as good a reason as any. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think he's going to pull it off. How he's going to do it, it might be a boring decision.
Well, even if it's a boring decision, I'll unfortunately be watching for championship rounds and betting purposes. But I'm also going to go with Odie Osborne. I think he's going to actually... I mean, he's a longer fighter. If he actually fights long, I mean, I think this is going to be a long night for Adashive. I mean, 3 5-minute rounds of domination. But enough of that. We'll move on to the next fight. We're going back to women's MMA. Go ahead and give him an intro, B.
So we got Karine Silva versus Paulina Botelho.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's how you sell it. But we're going to go with... so we got Karine Silva. She's 14-4. And Paulina is 8-4. What do you got on this one?
I got Botelho on a 2-fight losing streak. She's 3-3 in the promotion, while being 33. While the killer Karine Silva is 28, 14-4, making her UFC debut.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to go with Karine on this one, just because she is the younger fighter coming in, making her debut. So she's going to have, she's probably got a lot on her shoulders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's going in there, probably a lot of nerves, but I think she's going to pull it off. She's fighting someone that's, probably on the back end of her career, maybe could, be bounced out of the UFC with a loss here. So, she's trying to get her out of here. And I say she probably gets her out of there within 2 rounds.
Well, I'm right on the train. I'm picking killer Karine as well. I mean, Botelho, I feel like she gets pieced up on the feet and tries, if she can't get Karine to her back, I feel like there's no other way she's going to win this fight. Karine, I'm big on Brazilian women as far as how much they win as far as other nationalities in WMMA. However, she is making her UFC debut. I just hope the lights aren't too bright for her. I mean, she's in the UFC Apex, but hey, she made it to the promotion. But I'm definitely behind her. I echo the same sentiment. Picking Killer Kareem to get it done. And again, I'm going decision because it's already a shit card and there's already not a lot of finishes in women's MMA, let alone in it. Well, there's finishes in MMA, but women's MMA, you know what I mean? Not as many. But I will
Right.
pick her by decision. I think she lands the most significant strikes. I think the judges give her the nod at the end of the fight. All right.
Yep.
Moving on. Moving on. Burdened with blame, trapped in the past for too long. I'm moving on. All right, let's go. The next fight, B. Go ahead and it's Lucas Almeida versus Michael Trezzano. You got? Yeah, I'll go ahead and paint. I'll go ahead and set the table here, as soon as I can find it in my notes. Fuck. Lucas Almeida. You got anything on this while I'm trying to find them on my fucking notes?
Well, I will say on paper it does look like Lucas. He's 12-1. Mike Trezzino is 10-2. I'm not sure how many fights they have in the UFC, but these are both guys that looks like they haven't really experienced loss that often. So I think, and it's a featherweight bout. I think this might be a good fight just because when you got two young up and comers in there and featherweight division, those small scrappy guys, man, they like to leave it all out there and they're going for bonuses. That's just the way it always is. That's why, sometimes on these cards you say, hey, it's going to be a snore fest. But sometimes some of these cards end up being real bangers. The fights are really good. And I think this fight will live up to the hype. But I am taking Lucas Almeida.
Hey, this could be a scrap, man. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, this fight could go either way. This is what I'll say about this. Michael Lalongre Trezzano is 3-2 in the promotion, 9-2 overall, 30 years of age. So he's right there at entry level. Lucas Almeida, 31, 13-1, making his UFC debut. Funny thing about Lucas Almeida, he had a chance to make it in the promotion via the Contender Series. He lost that fight. He did win a subsequent fight after, but didn't look tremendous. But he finds his way in here against Michael Trezzano. Anyhow, they're around the same age. I'm just gonna go with Trezzano, who's already put together 3 wins in the promotion. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate, but this fight could go either way. I'm not huge on either of them, and I agree this could be a scrap. Just because these guys are relatively at the same level. It's a shame that guys at this level are even in the UFC. It's just because UFC has turned into a content, company for the most part. I mean, about fucking 7, 8 years ago, the guys like this would, no disrespect, but they wouldn't find their way inside the UFC without putting together like some crazy win streak or doing something absolutely disgusting and getting the fans enamored with their fights. Anything else to add on this one? Going with Trezzano, going with Almeida.
Yeah, nothing else to add, really.
All right. Next fight. Co-main event, 50K Ige versus Movsar Ivleev. Okay, Movsar Ivleev's 28, 15-0, 5-0 in the UFC. Ige's 30, 15-5, 7-4 in the UFC on a 2-fight skid. What you got, B?
I think it's going to be Is it Movsar? How do you say it?
That's close enough.
Close enough. I mean, look, he's undefeated, and he's on a five-fight win streak. So I'm thinking that's why they put him in the co-main event. I think Dan is a formidable opponent for him. I think they're doing this to maybe set this guy up for a title shot, title picture, get him up there in the top. With the win here, with the finish, I think you could maybe put him up there and build something around this guy with the win streak he has going. Thoughts?
Well, I mean that's great. Like I definitely agree. I mean Ige is on a losing skid, but he's only lost to really top guys. I mean he hasn't proven to be a real contender, but he's proven that hey, if you beat Ige, you're ready for that next level of fights. I mean, didn't Korean Zombie get a title shot off of a victory over this guy? I mean, didn't Aldo beat him as well? Is that correct? I think he did, and they're talking about him in the title picture as well at that weight class. I mean, it is Aldo. But Ivalev, comes in undefeated, like you said. He's looking to prove he is one of those upper echelon fighters. And you know what? I think he is. I think he gets it done.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Finally, The Rock has come. I'm just kidding. We are at the main event. It is time. We have made it to the top of the mountain. You got Drazinio Rozenstruik versus Alexander Volkov, Drago. Let me go ahead and state their particulars. Drago is 33 years of age, the former Bellator heavyweight champion, 12-3, 6-3 in the UFC. Against, I'm reading the wrong guy's stats. Volkov is 33, 34-10, 8-4 in the UFC. Drazinio Rozenstruik, the former kickboxing champion, is 34 years of age, 12-3, 6-3 in the UFC. These guys are right around the same age. What do you got, bro?
So these guys, they're like win one, lose one. Biggie Boy, he's coming off a loss to Curtis Blades. It was a decision, but Curtis Blades did dominate that fight. He wins one, he loses one. If we're going off that, then I guess he's ready to win one. But I don't think that's going to happen because Volkov is I consider him a veteran at this point. He's been around a while. He's a former world champion. So, I think he's going to use his length. And the thing with Volkov is he's comfortable in any aspect of the fight, whether it goes on the ground. And he has really good grappling. He just doesn't use it as much. I've seen it in fights. Biggie Boy, he's flat-footed. He likes to stand there. His output is very basic to me. Like, I'm not sold on this guy. I'm not sold on this guy at all. I never have been. He wants to be like Derek Lewis, but he'll never be the Black Beast, Derek Lewis.
You just say that because they kind of look alike.
I mean, I was scrolling a few days ago, and I was like, whoa, Derek Lewis done lost some weight. Oh, wait, no, it's Biggie Boy.
So you're saying he looks like he's in better shape, though?
Yeah, but he's just sticking the mud, as Connor would say.
He ain't got what Lewis got.
He ain't got what Lewis got, and that's the heavyweight knockout record.
I hear that. He is the knockout king. The man came into the promotion with knockout king tattooed on his body, and then he became the knockout king in the UFC. You can't write that shit. But he's not fighting tonight. Let me get my analysis on this fight. Volkov is historically the more busier fighter. However, Biggie Boy possesses one shot, ending power. Being at the UFC Apex, it might be easier for him to close the distance. However, I feel like Volkov has the most diverse skill set. I look for him to disarm Biggie Boy. I look for him to disarm Biggie Boy and take him to the canvas where he's been nothing more than a fish out of water. Yeah, Volkov can strike with this guy. He can strike with him. He can hit him with the push kick. He can touch him up. But I think he just says fuck it and takes him down and doesn't put him away, but wins the fight on points. 3 fucking rounds, 5-minute rounds to a decision. I think Drazinio is gonna gas after about 3 rounds. I mean, look at that Overeem fight. He didn't throw hardly anything and threw a Hail Mary at the end and won the fight. Like, he barely threw a fucking strike. And I think Volkov is long enough to stifle the movement, but even more so, I think he's just going to take his ass down.
Yeah, and both those guys have fought Overeem, as you said, and the difference being is Rozenstruik got really lucky with that punch at the last 20 seconds.
Right.
Granted, when he did hit it, it did split Overeem's lip like something out of a horror movie. But Volkov fought Overeem as well and finished him as well. But I feel like, dominated that fight against Overeem.
Definitely. And really Overeem dominated against Rozenstruik until that last second. So
yeah, 100% agree there. Yeah,
there's no way I'm putting money on a fighter that doesn't throw strikes. I learned my lessons with Tyron Woodley. I'm not betting on fighters that don't throw, that don't strike, that think they can win fights without actually fighting. No, I'm
Yeah,
good. I'm
same,
good. So that
same.
so that was the main event of the show. I'm just gonna throw up a few of my parlays here. The first one being if you go with all of my picks, um, if you go with all of my picks from the show today, and I got a $3 bet on that. It pays out $1,300 and change. And I have another parlay as well. Just rattle through these real quick. Just only three of them. The next parlay here, right there. I've got that with just a switch from Gravley from Munoz, even though I picked Munoz, and I believe let me see here. You can see it on the screen. Just a little bit of deviations from that. That also pays out above $1,000, and then I have a 12 pick parlay to close out my bets for the night. And I know you guys are thinking 12 picks, that's crazy. You guys don't know how many times I've cashed on 12 picks. Quite a bit. And I've also fallen short by one fight quite a bit, as I did when I had a 13 fight parlay and I got all of them right up until Gaethje, who was defeated by Charles Oliveira. But yes, this is my last parlay. Brandon, you got anything else on this fucking slobber knocker of a card before we call it? I mean, I think going through this card, I had so much energy starting, but I think going through this card like just sapped my energy, and I just like slowed down like as we went, so where I didn't have any energy when the main event went. What's your take?
Well, luckily it's a daytime event, so the main event would be starting around 4 o'clock. Um, so any other time. I mean, obviously, bro, it's put us both to sleep. Like, I can't even believe this card is even, even though it's at the apex,
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's so many fights on this card. It's like, why? Why is there so many fights on this? Like, because we
Right.
just went through it. Why? And they couldn't get. Where's Matt Brown at? I mean, they couldn't get some of these exciting, crafty vets. Like, I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah. My last show did Game Busters because everybody was excited about Gervonta Davis, but this show, like, I don't think anybody's really gonna care.
Yeah, what is there to get excited about on this card? Let's just
Right.
be real.
Absolutely, man. Is there anything that you are looking forward to as far as MMA is concerned? I mean, I know there's been a lot of heat going around fights or whatever. Anything else you want to add before we fucking call it a damn day, a night? Get on Call of Duty or something?
You mean exciting as far as like, well, I mean, everyone wants to fight Conor. Everybody, every day it's a new guy calling out the great one.
Right.
Uh, now it's Jorge's Masvidal, right? And and listen, bro,
He used to be your boy. Go ahead though.
he did, and he still is. I mean, I fuck with him, but he ain't showed me nothing since the Diaz fight. You know,
Facts. Facts.
and actually, he's looked worse.
And he couldn't
So
put the
yeah,
stamp on the performance in that too, because the judge, the doctors ain't
right.
like put it into that.
Right, but he was dominating that fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, but who knows? Those last 2 rounds, who knows what could have happened, right? We're
Right.
talking about Nate Diaz here. This guy literally doesn't turn on until fifth round. So,
Absolutely.
but
Well,
my point being is, everybody wants to fight Conor now. It's Jorge Masvidal, but the reality is that if Conor fights Jorge's gonna get knocked out.
I mean, well,
You know?
they got to make the fight, and I know a lot of people will show up to see that, to see if it's a train wreck or an absolute, war. Who knows? Well,
It would
B,
definitely be a war.
well, that remains to be seen. We don't know what kind of gas tank or what type of shape the guys are going to show up in. But B, as always, it's been real. Loved having you on. Got to have you on for an actual card that we are excited about. And the rest of you guys, championship rounds. Yeah, let me know what your picks are. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Put your picks in the comments. I'm gonna hold myself accountable, and I'm gonna come back next time and tell you guys how I did record-wise if you don't go back and see yourself. But yeah, finally got through this card. Definitely a lot left to be desired here. As usual, shout out to Workman Carpet Care. Shout out to Roth, Mars Media. Shout out to the P1s and all the new subscribers. And until next time, stay frosty.
Completely numb. I feel no pain, no shame, no love. Don't give a fuck about you, about me, about anyone. I've had enough of the same shit, fake shit, broken trust. So I'm giving up on everything, everyone. Just have these 120 on the freeway as I take another hit. Little peep up in my speakers screaming, God boy click. I mix a perky with the lean and now my stomach doing flips. But I'm